Welcome to Speak Up English Hub. You know, life feels like it's just a long series of choices, right? We feel like we're in the driver's seat, making these smart, rational decisions. When things work out, hey, we take the credit. When they don't, well, that's on us too. But what if that whole feeling of being in control, what if it's just a really, really convincing illusion? Today, we're gonna peel back the curtain on that.
So let's start with a big one. Are your choices really, truly yours? I want you to keep this question in the back of your mind as we go through this. I mean, think about everything from the brand of coffee you chose this morning to the career you're pursuing. How much of that was pure, unfiltered you? And this quote from the brilliant Darren Brown, wow, it just nails it. It's not some conspiracy theory with a shadowy figure pulling the strings. Nope. The culprit is much closer to home. It's our own brain. It has these, well, let's call them glitches. These built-in defaults and errors that make us surprisingly easy to influence. And most of the time, we have no idea it's even happened.
To really get our heads around how this works, there is no better place to start than the world of magic. Seriously. Think of it like a laboratory where magicians have spent centuries perfecting the art of guiding our choices, all while making us feel completely free.
The technique has a name, and it's called forcing. It's this incredible skill of making you think you're making a random, free choice when actually you were gently nudged there the entire time. They're not controlling your hand. They're playing with the shortcuts your brain naturally takes. A magician might say, pick any card you like, but their language, their gestures, it's all priming you to land on one specific card.
So how on earth do they pull this off? Well, they target what psychologists call our System 1 brain. This is our autopilot. It's fast, it's intuitive, it's emotional, and boy does it love to jump to conclusions. The magician's whole job is to keep your System 2 brain, that's the slow, analytical part that actually thinks things through, distracted until the trick's over and it's too late to figure it out.
Let's look at how this was actually tested by science. Researchers took a classic psychological force for one specific card, the 3 of diamonds. The trick uses a clever mix of subtle things, like tracing a diamond shape in the air while talking, along with specific words. It's a process called priming.
So, they tested this on almost 600 people. And get this, a full 20% of them named the 3 of diamonds. Now, you might be thinking, 20%, that's not that much. But wait, you have to put that number in perspective. With a normal 52-card deck, the random statistical chance of just guessing that one specific card is less than 2%. So, to go from under 2% all the way up to 20%, that shows this isn't just a silly party trick. It is a genuinely powerful way to influence someone just by giving that fast-acting System 1 brain a little nudge.
Okay, so that's the magic show. But let's bring it out into the real world. Because these exact same principles of misdirection and influence, they're not just for magicians. They are used every single day in marketing and sales to shape the choices you and I make as consumers.
All right, picture this. You're at the cinema. You want some popcorn. You've got two options, a small for £3 or a large for $7. Now, most of us, just based on what we actually need, would probably just grab the small one. Seems like a simple, logical choice.
But then, the people selling the popcorn introduce a third option. And here's the secret. This option isn't really there for you to buy. It's what's called a decoy, and its only job is to completely change how you see the other two.
Check this out. They add a medium popcorn for £6.50. Now, all of a sudden, your brain's calculation just flips. The medium is obviously a terrible deal. But look what it does. It makes the large popcorn for just 50p more seem like an absolute bargain. And just like that, people's preferences shift from the small to the large. You see this trick everywhere once you start looking for it.
The popcorn example shows us that context is everything. And that leads us to another really powerful psychological tool, the framing effect. Simply put, the way a choice is presented, the words you use, the frame you put around it, can completely change how we feel, even if the facts underneath are identical.
I mean, which of these sounds better to you? Ground beef that's 75% fat-free or one that's 25% fat? Or how about a surgery with a 95% success rate versus one with a 5% failure rate? It's the exact same information, but our System 1 brain instantly latches onto the positive framing and runs away from the negative one. We are, as they say, predictably irrational.
But here's the real kicker. It's not just cunning magicians and clever marketers. We don't even need anyone on the outside to mess with us. Our own brains are perfectly capable of trapping themselves, all thanks to a whole list of built-in cognitive biases.
Okay, little thought experiment for you. You've paid for a movie ticket. You're an hour in,
and it is just awful. You're bored, you're not enjoying it. So do you stay and suffer through to the end, or do you just get up and walk out? A lot of us would feel this weird pull to stay, but why?
This is the sunk cost fallacy in action. Our brain tells us, hey, I've already paid for the ticket. If I leave now, I've wasted my money. But think about it. The money is already gone. It's a sunk cost. You can't get it back. The only logical question is about the future. Will staying for another hour make you happier than leaving? Of course not. But this flawed logic is why people throw good money after bad in failing projects or stay in jobs they hate.
I love this motto from The Economist magazine because it's the perfect antidote to this fallacy. The rest of your life begins now. Whatever you've invested in the past, money, time, effort, it's gone. It is irrelevant to your next decision. All that matters is what's best for you going forward.
Now this next one, this is one of the most fascinating experiments in psychology from Daniel Kahneman. Here's the setup. In the first trial, you have to put your hand in painfully icy water for 60 seconds. In the second trial, you do that same painful 60 seconds, but then you have to keep it in for another 30 seconds while the water warms up just a little bit. Now, logically, the second trial is way worse, right? It's longer, there's more total pain. So which one would you choose to do again?
And the results are, well, they're just bizarre. An incredible 80% of people chose to repeat the second trial, the one that was objectively longer and more painful. And why on earth would they do that? Because it had a slightly less painful ending. This shows our remembering self is terrible at math. It doesn't add up to total pain. Instead, it creates a story, and it cares most about the peak of the pain and, crucially, how the story ends.
So, okay, we've seen how magicians, marketers, and even our own brain's glitches can lead us down the wrong path. It might feel a bit bleak, but here's the good news. Just knowing about these traps is the first step to avoiding them. Knowledge really is power, and we can start to take back control.
So here is your toolkit, your 4 steps to making wiser choices. First, always look for the decoy. When you see 3 options, get suspicious. Ask yourself, is one of these just here to make another one look better? Second, reframe the choice yourself. If a product says it's 95% effective, flip it. Say, okay, so there's a 5% chance it fails. Does that change how you feel? Third, learn to ignore sunk costs. Say it with me. The rest of your life begins now. And finally, question the story your memory is telling you. We don't choose based on what actually happened, but on the edited highlights our memory decides to show us.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to chew on. If your memory isn't a perfect video recording, but rather a story that you've edited, how can you be sure that the story you're basing your next big life choice on is actually the true one? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. It's a fascinating topic. And if you found this lesson useful for your English listening practice, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more content from Speak Up English Hub.